A vintage Rolex watch, untouched for decades, holds a captivating story of military service and personal significance. The guests brought in a Rolex watch purchased during their military service in Thailand from 1973 to 1975. While stationed there, they flew on Air America Airlines and Continental Airlines. The guest noted that most pilots wore Rolex watches, which intrigued them. Although they always wanted one, the watches were expensive. After transferring to another base and doing scuba diving, the guest recognized the watch's suitability for that activity. They found this particular watch at a price they could afford, but decided not to use it. The guest thought it was too nice to take into salty water. After leaving the service, the guest placed the watch in a safety deposit box. It remained there for 30 to 40 years, only taken out a few times to look at it. The appraiser asked which brand of service the guest was in. The guest replied they were in the United States Air Force. They mentioned entering service in 1971 and having a low draft number of 7. The appraiser remarked that this wasn't a lucky number in the draft. The guests explained their role in munitions and explosive ordnance disposal, helping to clear roads of landmines. They ordered the watch through the base exchange in November of 1974, and it arrived in April of 1975. The appraiser noted the purchase price of $345.97 and asked if that was significant back then.
$345.97. Was that a lot of money in 1975 to you?
It was a lot of money for myself.
The guest confirmed it was, as salaries at the time ranged between $300 to $400 a month.
What was salaries back then?
It ranged between $300 and $400 a month, if I have it correct.
As you know, it's a Rolex. This particular model is referred to as an oyster cosmograph.
Considering its pristine condition, the appraiser declared it could fetch between $500,000 and $700,000.
A watch like this at auction is worth about $400,000. You okay? Let me.
Here is a beautiful ring inherited by this guest from her grandmother, and it's brought in for appraisal. The ring is a sapphire and diamond 3-stone ring, and it's signed by Tiffany & Company, a well-known jewelry company. The center sapphire is about 3.5 carats, and the diamonds on the sides are about 1.5 carats. They are old European-cut diamonds, which are typical for the year 1913. During this period, Tiffany only used the highest quality stones, so the sapphire is likely from Burma. Also, this 3-stone setting is untreated or heated, hence the stones are in their original forms. If the sapphire stone is confirmed in a lab to be from Burma, then an auction value would be around.
If we sent the stone to a lab and could determine that it was a Burma sapphire with no heat, you might be looking at a value of $25,000 to $35,000 at auction.
Oh my gosh.
Guest brought in 3 Dr. Seuss first edition books, which she purchased from him because her family lived close to the author in San Diego. She bought the first 2 books about 30 years ago. The 7 Lady Gadivas was around $175, and the 500 Hats was $25. The last book, titled Oh, Say Can You See, was published in 1979, retailed for under $10, and was inscribed to the guest's daughter who was born the same year. Dr. Seuss signed the last book at the lower left-hand corner, which was his usual practice. Theodore Seuss Geisel was an American children's author and cartoonist. He is known for writing and illustrating more than 600 books under the name Dr. Seuss. The 7 Lady Gadivas is an early Dr. Seuss book published in 1939, but the jacket is worn, which affects the value. It is also one of the most provocative and racy books that the author ever did. Moreover, all 3 books are autographed by the author and have their dust jackets, except the Oh Say Can You See book. And the 7 Lady Gadivas has an ephemeral piece of paper when it was published to serve as a bookmark. At a retail market, the 7 Lady Gadivas would sell for $1,500. The 500 Hats would be around $1,000 to $1,500, while the Oh Say Can You See book would be approximately $500 to $600, bringing the 3 books to an estimate of
3 books together would be worth between $3,000 to $4,000 at retail.
Oh my goodness, that's considerably more than I would have thought, considerably more than I paid.
The guest brought in a Kiddush cup used in Jewish wine ceremonies that has been in his family since 1877 for appraisal. At the bottom of the cup is a crest dated 1654 and a location, Bavaria, Germany. This cup survived the Holocaust during World War II, an event that occurred between 1941 and 1945, where around 6 million European Jews were murdered by Nazi Germany and their collaborators. The guest parents were part of the Jews that survived the onslaught, and the mother took the cup and the Hanukkah menorah when they fled to America. Augsburg was the center of silver manufacturing, and during this period, Jews were not allowed to be members of the Professional Craftsmen Guild. Hence, Christian silversmiths were employed to make things for ceremonial use. Furthermore, there are no indications to show that this is a Kiddush cup, as Kiddush cups would have an inscription, which is either a Star of David or part of a blessing. However, it is the right size for Kiddush cups because they are supposed to hold a certain amount of wine to be kosher. It has a maker's mark that is not confirmed, but it's Augsburg silver and made in the 17th century. Therefore, an auction estimate would be
I would say an auction estimate would be between $2,500 and $3,500.
Okay.
Here is a mother-of-pearl button suit sewed by the guest grandmother who wore it to charities. The suit weighs around 50 pounds, and the owner wore it for hours to raise money for hospitals, churches, and more. The suit comprises a jacket and a floor-length skirt, which dates around to the 1970s. The back of the suit is sewn with buttons, all for charity, and there are fish and butterfly patterns sewn on it as well. Moreover, there are over 1,000 buttons on this suit, and they were generally worn by Pearly Kings and Pearly Queens, who were predominantly known throughout England. Other great figural buttons on this costume include a cross, a cat, a heart-shaped button, and more interesting things. As a button collection, this costume would be worth $1,000 to $1,500. However, a reasonable insurance value would be
an insurance value for something like this would be $2,000. Oh, wow.
We have a remarkable collection of interview magazines, including several pieces signed by the renowned Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol was an American visual artist, film director, and producer, a leading figure in the pop art movement. Warhol is considered one of the most important American artists of the second half of the 20th century. The guest developed a friendship with Warhol, who personally gifted him these exceptional autographs. Additionally, he also purchased a print directly from the iconic artist.
And then you got this beautiful print.
I loved it, and I got this from Andy for $125.
Oh, wow.
And again, I went down to his studio I took my mom and my sister, and we all went down there, and it was really great.
On the back of the print, you'll find several issues of Interview magazine, which Warhol founded and published.
We have some interview magazines.
Interview magazines. Andy was publishing this magazine called Interview at the time, and the guy had a stack of interview magazines.
The back of the print is properly numbered, stamped with a seal, and signed with great care. The collection also features signed cans, paying homage to Warhol's famous Campbell's soup can artwork, which inspired fans to bring actual cans for him to sign. Notably, this particular can is signed twice, a rare occurrence that enhances its uniqueness. Over the years, this can has become highly collectible, gaining significant interest among art enthusiasts. Due to the iconic and historical significance of these cans, if they were to appear at auction, their individual value could be estimated at.
If I were estimating these at auction, I would estimate the individual cans at $1,500 to $2,000 a piece.
Nice.
Yeah.
Furthermore, the interview magazines are extraordinary, and if they were to be auctioned, each piece would likely fetch a substantial price of.
I would estimate those at $1,000 to $1,500 a piece.
Shut up.
Not at all. Now,
the print itself boasts spectacular colors and includes a dedication on the back. A conservative estimate at auction would be
A conservative estimate at auction would probably be about $15,000 to $20,000.
No!
So,
Mom, did you hear that? We're going to Acapulco for the weekend.
This antique map of England holds significant historical and sentimental value. It was brought to the United States by the guest mother, a native of England. This map was originally part of a larger atlas created by the renowned British cartographer John Speed in the early 17th century.
This is mapped by a man named John Speed, whose name is over here in the cartouche. And John Speed was one of the most important of the early British cartographers. Very, very popular because he's British.
A specific date of the map is estimated to be around 1611 or 1612. This incredible map was later removed from the atlas, a common practice at the time, and framed for display. John Speed was a leading figure in the field of cartography, producing highly detailed and accurate maps of the British Isles and other parts of the world. His work was widely popular due to his British nationality, as most cartographers at the time were Dutch. One of the distinctive features of this map is its vibrant colors. The antique map is estimated to be worth between
This map would probably sell for about $2,000 to $2,200.
Really?
a treasured relic from the past. This inscribed copy of the History of Magic holds a unique connection to the enigmatic Jim Morrison, the legendary frontman of The Doors. Originally published under the name of Kurt Seligman, this book is a compilation of historical text and illustrations related to magic and the occult. Morrison, known for his fascination with the occult and his incorporation of mystical elements into his music and persona,
He was so attractive to the public. There's a following after his death. He died young. He has all the components of value. Beauty, early death, intelligent, wild. That's Jim Morrison to a T.
presented this book to the guest as a Christmas gift in 1963 during their time as roommates at Florida State University. The inscribed copy of the History of Magic serves as a tangible connection to the iconic musician. It offers a glimpse into Morrison's early life and interest, revealing a side of him that often remains shrouded in mystery. At auction, it is estimated to be worth between
I would say that the value on it is $8,000 to $10,000 at auction. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
This stunning lamp on display has been a cherished part of the guest family for nearly 40 years. It has two majestic phoenix birds gracefully perched on a magnificent tree, adorned with trailing vines intricately crafted in cloisonne and enamel. This exquisite piece is undeniably impressive in both size and presence, likely of Japanese origin, possibly created for an exhibition or even a World's Fair. While it's difficult to confirm if the shade is original, it certainly complements the lamp and may very well be the original. Oftentimes, such pieces are accompanied by shades crafted in a similar style, and this could be a later addition from the same period, though it might not be original to the piece.
Well have been original. Oftentimes, pieces like this come with a shade that is executed in the same manner.
Right.
The cloisonne and enamel work on the leaves is beautifully variegated, showcasing a vibrant array of multicolored hues. Additionally, there's a bronze element with a gilded overlay rather than a mix of metals. It essentially features a gilded wash. The tail feathers of the phoenix are inlaid with semi-precious stones, appearing to be carnelian. Phoenix birds symbolize imperial authority in China and were prominently featured in motifs from that era, serving as the emblem of the Empress of China.
Phoenix birds were a sign of imperial authority in China and were used in motifs into that period. The phoenix was actually the symbol of the Empress of China.
Given the historical significance and unique characteristics of this masterpiece, it would likely be valued at a conservative price of
At a value of about $20,000 to $30,000 at auction. Maybe 20 to 30 years ago, you would have been looking at much more.
Great.
You know, every painted wooden box tells a story. This one, for instance, held important documents. The guest who brought this wooden box to the show found it in his grandparents' home. An interesting feature of this box is the beautiful floral painting that covers its entire surface. Interestingly, this piece is referred to as the Bucher box due to its history. Although this box is attributed to Heinrich Bucher, he most likely didn't make it, but he was one of its owners.
I believe the box was either made for or given to my fifth great-grandfather, probably back shortly before the year 1800.
At the top of the box, we can see the inscription F. Dresser, which is the guest family name.
The name was the family name. The spelling's a little bit different, but it's kind of printed on phonetically. The immigrant in that family was named Philip, but that's all I know.
Furthermore, the box still has its original hasp and cotter pin hinge holding the lid in place. Remarkably, even though this box was made in the 1800s, it remains in excellent condition. Given its current state and provenance, this beautifully painted wooden box would be worth?
I would place an auction estimate at somewhere in the vicinity of $10,000 to $15,000, which is really pretty conservative.
Her grandmother attended UND and left a yearbook and pottery. This UND vase by Margaret Cable, circa 1926, is a notable example of early 20th century American art pottery. Margaret Cable was a key figure in North Dakota pottery and led the ceramics department at UND. Under her leadership, UND's pottery program became known for high-quality, artistic ceramics. There are marks on the piece's bottom, featuring Margaret Cable's name and the word flax. The soft cream glaze, decorated with light blue flowers, exudes serene natural charm. Revealing the artistry behind this unique vase.
With heavy slip, which is a mixture of clay and mineral oxides, and then the piece would have been fired and then glazed and fired again. So underglaze decoration UND is a little uncommon.
The form is simple and elegant, reflecting the arts and crafts movement's focus on handcrafted beauty. This vase is beautiful and historically significant, embodying North Dakota's early 20th century heritage.
It's a very pretty piece. It's very small. Wonderful story. Value on a piece like this? Any thoughts?
Its beauty and history impressed, so the appraiser valued the item.
The value at auction would probably be between $1,000 and $1,500.
A treasure trove of history, this ornate trunk carries tales of distant lands and adventurous spirits. Gifted to the guest by a retired medical missionary who dedicated half a century to serving Iran. Crafted on the Iranian coast, likely in Shiraz, these trunks were historically used as storage containers on dhows.
They were made on the coast of Iran. Shiraz was a big place. They were also made in India. This particular one is in Shiraz, and it's typical of the kind of things that they put on the dhows.
Small sailing vessels that plied the Persian Gulf for centuries. Interestingly, the nicks and dings on the trunk tell stories of its adventurous past. These marks are a testament to its practical use on countless seafaring journeys. Despite the wear and tear, the trunk remains remarkably well preserved, especially the top surface. More than just a decorative item, this trunk is a tangible connection to the past. It's a symbol of cultural exchange, a reminder of the missionary's adventurous spirit, and a cherished memento gifted by a dear friend. Given its historical significance and good condition, the appraiser estimates the trunk's value to be between,
in a good gallery or in a decorative showroom, maybe even more, $2,500 to $3,500.
Wow.
Here we present an album that showcases an extraordinary collection of prints. The guest's parent stumbled upon this album at a vibrant garage estate sale. Her father, a retired building contractor, has long been captivated by the Bay Bridge's architectural beauty. The San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge, commonly referred to as the Bay Bridge, is a complex of bridges spanning San Francisco Bay in California, the construction which spanned from 1933 to 1936. Among the treasures is a commercial photograph featuring direct printing on the negative, marked by handwritten notations from a man named Casper. These annotations suggest they were commemorating the bridge's completion in a personal way.
There's a great mix of prints in this album. These are the commercial photographs in here with the printing on the negative.
One page highlights a beloved photograph, complete with a handwritten story that adds depth to the image.
This one right here, which says, "On the catwalk, Casper among the strands of the cable, a story to be told here."
Right.
It's just so great. Nice personal story behind the building of this bridge.
Right.
The Bay Bridge was constructed between 1933 and 1936.
Additionally, it features a photo of the father during the Bay Bridge's construction. This inclusion transforms the album into a remarkable time capsule, preserving the engineering achievements of that era. Moreover, such a unique perspective on bridge construction is quite rare. If this album were to be auctioned, it could command a significant price, reflecting its historical and sentimental value.
I don't see any reason why it wouldn't sell within an estimate of $400 to $600.
Oh, very nice.
This unique and captivating piece of folk art was discovered by chance in a South Jersey home. It is a root sculpture depicting various animals and figures that had been hidden away in the garage for years, unbeknownst to the homeowners. Its discovery was a moment of pure delight for the guest, who immediately recognized its special quality.
I think I started to dance around, and my niece describes it as the happy dance because it was something so peculiar that I knew it was special.
Some intricate details, like the whimsical nature of the subject matter and the undeniable charm of the piece, captivated them. Created around the late 19th or early 20th century, the sculpture is a prime example of folk art. Likely a local craftsman, the artist skillfully utilized natural materials to create a piece that is both visually stunning and emotionally resonant. The item has a wonderful depiction of various animals, including snakes, birds, cats, and a horse head, adding to its allure. The intricate details and the overall composition evoke a sense of wonder and intrigue. Given the unique nature of the piece, the appraiser estimates its value to be between
I would say a good auction estimate would be $30,000 to $50,000.
The guest brought a striking necklace to the show, inherited from a friend whose mother had received it from a neighbor years prior.
They came across a number of items, some clothing and things, and they passed them on to me. They said, me being the flamboyant person I am.
Okay.
It is determined that the necklace is a fine example of Mughal jewelry, likely dating back to the 19th or early 20th century. Its intricate craftsmanship was evident in the delicate enamel work, which adorned the piece in hues of white, red, and green.
It's hard to many times date these because these types of pieces are still being made today in the same style with the same design motifs. It's based on the quality of this piece, the level of craftsmanship.
It was further embellished with natural pearls, sourced from the Indian Ocean. They have uniquely shaped pendants reminiscent of tiger claws, a potent symbol of protection in Mughal culture.
The same color motifs, and we have some pearls here as well. Now these pearls are natural. That means that they were not cultured. These pearls probably came out of the Indian Ocean.
One side revealed a breathtaking ensemble of gemstones, including rubies, topaz, sapphires, emeralds, diamonds, cat's eye, coral, and ruby.
The tiger claws themselves were used as a symbol for protection. So we've got a great combination of symbolism and shape and form in the piece.
Such necklaces often served as a significant component of a bride's dowry, reflecting the family's wealth and status. The necklace has a retail replacement estimate of between
Value for retail replacement would be between $12,000 and $15,000.
Wow. I'm
Is that
so
good?
excited. That's wonderful. Thank you.
It's a beautiful, beautiful example.
In the mid-70s, a simple conversation at a small show would lead to the discovery of a stunning piece of fashion history. The guest explained that his wife acquired the dress during their time in Massachusetts in the mid-1970s. She began collecting lovely pieces of old clothing. At a small show, she spoke with an elderly woman. The woman mentioned she had something to show her and went to her car. She returned with a book titled Pavlova. The woman revealed a dress that captivated the guest's wife immediately. His wife expressed admiration and asked if the woman would sell it. The woman agreed, and his wife quickly offered to buy it. She recalled paying a little over $50 for the dress and $2 for the book.
He said, I will buy it from you. And she did.
And how much did your wife have to pay for it?
My wife believes that she paid around a little over $50 and $2 for the book.
The appraiser identified the dress as a beautiful Fortuny Delphos made in Italy by Mariano Fortuny. He explained that Fortuny developed a unique pleating process for these dresses from 1907 to 1949. The guest was astonished to learn the pleating technique had never been duplicated. The appraiser pointed out the dress's vertical signature in red lettering on the back center seam. He noted the dress was made from China silk and cautioned against dry cleaning or laundering. The appraiser praised the dress's exquisite design, form-fitting style, and decorative Venetian glass beads. He estimated the retail price to be between $15,000 and $18,000, shocking the guest.
The retail price on this would be $15,000 to $18,000 for this dress.
I'm terribly sorry.
$15,000 to
$18,000?
Yes.
Jim Morrison's roommate in college brought in a book that was inscribed by Jim to him. James Douglas Morrison, born on December 8, 1943, was an American singer, songwriter, and poet. He was the lead vocalist and primary lyricist of the rock band called The Doors, and is regarded as one of the most influential frontmen in rock and roll history.
So much the musical side. When he left, what I thought he was going to be was an actor.
Morrison founded The Doors alongside keyboardist Ray Manzarek in 1965 in Venice, California. They gained prominence with their #1 hit single, Light My Fire, and Morrison went on to record a total of 6 studio albums with The Doors.
Also, he would listen at night, the portable radio by his ear to kind of put him to sleep. And then about 1 or 2 in the morning, these Mexican radio stations would come on that were super loud.
Morrison eventually became an alcoholic, which affected his performances on stage, and in 1971, he was found dead at his Paris apartment at age 27. His college friend never became a fan of his music, but loved listening to opera.
Did you turn out to be a Doors fan?
Not really, you know. By the time he was becoming famous, I was married, starting a teaching career. Now mostly I listen to the opera.
On the show today is the incredible golf star Jane Crafter, who has brought her golf club with her. Jane began her amateur career in Australia before joining the LPGA, where she played from 1981 to 2004. Notably, she secured victory in an official LPGA event in Florida and won 3 times in Australia.
Well, I came over from Australia in 1981, the daughter of a golf professional. I had a good amateur career in Australia, and I came over to play on the LPGA, and I played from 1981 till 2004.
However, golf has a rich history that spans many centuries, with Scotland recognized as its birthplace in the 1800s. During this period, clubs were crafted by renowned club makers who marked their creations with stamps. The prominent club makers of the era were celebrated for their exceptional craftsmanship, particularly during the peak of long-nose clubs in the 1800s. These long-nose clubs, known today as drivers or woods, were popular during play. The driver is stamped at the bottom, but features no prominent club name, such as Stewart, which adds to the confusion.
Because you see how it's stamped Stewart here?
Yes.
There is no major club maker named Stewart.
Right.
There's Tom Stewart out of Scotland, but he was known for cleeks, or what are known as irons today.
Right.
It's possible that this stamp represents the owner or player rather than the actual maker. Additionally, the head lacks the craftsmanship typical of those produced by major club makers in the 1880s, suggesting it may have been created later and combined with the shaft.
Of heads that were made by the major club makers at that time. And he thought that possibly this may have been a later head that was married to this shaft.
Given the historical significance of this golf club, if it were to be auctioned, it could be valued at.
We think an auction estimate is between $400 to $600, and we think you should insure it for about $1,500. So you're in good shape.
Right.
This mysterious box has captured everyone's attention, sparking curiosity about its hidden contents. Inside, we find an intriguing plaster head adorned with human hair and eyelashes. accompanied by an eerily realistic hand. These peculiar pieces once belonged to the infamous Willie Sutton. William Francis Sutton, Jr. was an American bank robber. During his 40-year robbery career, he stole an estimated $2 million, and he eventually spent more than half of his adult life in prison. He was known for reportedly robbing over 100 banks and escaping from prison 3 times. This remarkable creation was crafted by Sutton himself during his time in prison. The dummy head and hand were part of an elaborate plan he devised for an unsuccessful escape attempt. Interestingly, the prison where this took place was overseen by the guest grandfather.
Penitentiary, they sent it up to the Camp Hill prison where my grandfather was located, and then he simply kept it upon his retirement since Willie had been released long since.
Over several months, Sutton meticulously crafted the false head using hair from the prison barbershop, including the eyelashes, to enhance its realism.
He made this false head using hair from the barbershop, and there's actually real human hair. Same with the eyelashes. We have no idea where he got the pigments.
Right.
He fashioned the head and left it in his bed, with the hand clutching a corner of the bed sheets to make it appear lifelike. On the night he attempted to escape, he was unaware that he wasn't the only inmate with plans to flee, which ultimately led to his failure. This escape attempt occurred in August 1941, but it wasn't until a few years later that he succeeded in his bid for freedom. In 1950, Sutton became the 11th person added to the FBI's most wanted list.
This escape attempt was in August of 1941.
Yes.
And it was just a few years later when he managed to finally escape for several years. And in 1950, he was actually the 11th person to be added to the FBI's most wanted list.
While this piece bears a striking resemblance to him, without the accompanying box, it's merely a plaster head. If it were to be auctioned, it could be valued at...
We were able to give it a very conservative auction estimate of $2,500 to $3,500.
Wow, that's nice. That's very nice.
This painting was by Domingo Ulloa, a local artist from El Centro, who has been recognized as the father of Chicano art by the California State Assembly. Chicano art was influenced by post-ideologies, art, European painting techniques, and Mexican-American social, political, and cultural issues. The guest acquired this painting in 2010 during a casual trip to buy eggs. The painting depicted a vibrant scene of migrant farm workers dancing, eating, and enjoying music. This painting resonated well with the guest, despite his wife finding it too unattractive to hang on the wall. He believed the painting reflected how farm workers would unwind after a week of hard labor. The appraiser confirmed that Ulloa's work was deeply rooted in the Chicano movement, influenced by progressive politics. This painting medium was oil on masonite. Ulloa's training in Mexico City and his exposure to the Tala de Grafica Popular, an artist print collective, informed this revolutionary and socially conscious style. Although Ulloa's work was so good, it was somewhat overlooked in the 1960s and 70s. However, exhibitions like Art Beyond the Hyphen have renewed interest in Mexican-American and Chicano art. This painting was from 1976. The appraiser noted that given the increasing appreciation for Ulloa's work, the painting could fetch an auction estimate of...
If I was going to put it at auction, I'd put an auction estimate on it of $3,000 to $5,000. Very nice.
Today's guest presents a bronze masterpiece purchased at an estate sale in Florida for just $5.
I got it in Florida about 17 years ago, and I got it at an estate sale, but I don't know what I paid for it. I forgot.
Can you guess?
Somewhere probably around $5.
The appraiser identifies it as an Austrian cold-painted bronze. Sculpted into the form of a charming cat, this piece holds a delightful surprise. The cat opens to reveal another figure inside, showcasing a playful transformation. This style dates back to the early 1900s and is attributed to Franz Xavier Bergmann, a famous Austrian visual artist. Bergmann owned a Viennese foundry that specialized in detailed, colorful bronzes depicting oriental, erotic, and animal figures, often whimsical in nature. While Bergmann was known to sign his more provocative pieces with his name spelled backward, This particular sculpture lacks that signature.
And he did large-scale sculptures, but he always signed his small, quote, naughty bronzes, Nam Greb, which is Bergman spelled backwards.
However, it does feature an Austrian mark, indicating its origin. The appraiser suggests it's likely the work of a contemporary or colleague of Bergman, rather than the artist himself. Despite this, the piece remains highly collectible and retains a significant auction value of
Value on a piece like this, because they're highly collectible, is $2,000.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that fantastic?
Yes, it is.
Prepare for an extraordinary episode that breaks the mold. It's a star-studded special, showcasing beloved celebrities and their hidden treasures. Get ready to spot some familiar faces from the world of entertainment. Among the esteemed guests is charismatic American TV personality Carson Kressley. Joining the excitement is a talented actor who captivated audiences in HBO's critically acclaimed series The Wire, Benga Akanagabe. But that's not all. We have an impressive lineup of additional stars waiting to share their stories. Watch as these celebrities uncover surprising facts about their own possessions.
Let's face it, as a consumer, I'm clearly a chump.
We have to stay in touch with this guy, man. He knows everything. He knows everything.
Many arrive with lingering questions about their cherished items. Will the experts be able to unravel these mysteries and provide the answers they seek? Don't miss this unique blend of celebrity charm, fascinating history, and unexpected discoveries. Purchased from Germany in 1931, this statue has remained a family heirloom ever since. It is a wonderful piece, signed by the artist Edward Onslow Ford, a British sculptor born in 1852 and died in 1901. He studied in Antwerp and Munich, but spent most of his life in Britain, and his works were extremely refined, which led him to receive a number of commissions for public monuments and statues in Britain and overseas. Looking at the skirt of this object, it's like it's swirling around with beautiful quality, and this was cast bronze, probably in the 1880. The object has a dark brown patina and is in good condition. Edward was also known for genre scenes, portraying beautiful women in different poses, and he made 49 artworks altogether. For insurance purposes, this compelling figure would be worth around.
For insurance purposes, I would think in the $20,000
Wow.
range. So
Wow.
definitely something
That's
to take good care of.
That's
Well,
wonderful.
Thanks for bringing it in today.
Thank you very much.
A unique tortoise figurine caught the attention of the appraiser. This piece, brought back by the owner's father from World War II, had been won in a card game. The tortoise is adorned with what appears to be seaweed or moss rather than hair. The appraiser identified it as a minigame from Japanese mythology, representing the connection between heaven and earth. Notably, the figurine is made of solid silver, weighing over 100 ounces. Upon closer inspection, the surface reveals barnacles that are likely made of solid gold, adding to the piece's allure. The intricate workmanship includes finely detailed scales, facial features, and the trailing seaweed, all expertly chased by hand.
But the details of the scales, the face, the seaweed, all this is chased and done by hand. And then if we turn it over on the underside,
The underside showcases even more remarkable craftsmanship, featuring an inscription with the craftsman's name, which the appraiser plans to research.
actually has his name incorporated in this inscription, which we haven't been able to look up the name yet, but we will do so.
When the owner estimated its worth at around $3,000 to $4,000 due to its silver content, the appraiser surprised them by suggesting a value of $20,000 to $30,000 at auction.
Yeah, let's add a little bit. I think it's more like $20,000 to $30,000 at auction.
Ooh, that's quite a bit.
A guest brought in a silver mug or can that had been passed down through many generations. This remarkable piece originally belonged to her mother-in-law. The item was identified as an 18th century creation by the renowned silversmith Jacob Hurd. He was part of a well-known family of silversmiths. The term can comes from the Old English word for a silver mug. It is a classic example of colonial American silver. The appraiser was impressed by the mug's excellent condition, noting that it had been carefully stored away, avoiding over-polishing or damage. Beneath its tarnish, the piece was believed to have a nice, warm surface patina. The appraiser pointed out that such American silver is desirable among collectors. The mug also bore Heard's maker's mark. It was placed near the handle, which was typical for Boston-made silver. While there was no formal hallmarking system in colonial America, most pieces were made to a high silver standard. With its family provenance and historical significance, the estimated value was,
I think we could probably expect something in the region of $15,000 for it.
Oh, my word.
Really? You weren't expecting that?
Buddy Ebsen's wife is on the show with his dancing shoes and confirmatory pictures for appraisal. Buddy Ebsen, also known as Frank Buddy Ebsen, was a popular American actor and dancer. One of his major roles was as Jed Clampett in the CBS television sitcom The Beverly Hillbillies from 1962 to 1971. Afterwards, he starred as the title character in the television detective drama Barnaby Jones from 1973 to 1980. Although he was a dancer, Buddy began his film career in Broadway Melody of 1936 and was also cast to appear in The Wizard of Oz as the Tin Man, but was forced to drop out due to the aluminum dust in his makeup, which led to serious illness. The first pair of shoes he used during his time in the Beverly Hillbillies, while the second were his first dance shoes in the 1920s, where he danced in the Ziegfeld Follies vaudeville. An insurance value on these incredible pieces of Hollywood memorabilia would be,
if I was going to put an insurance value on them, I wouldn't insure them for anything less than $20,000 for the two pair of shoes.
An antique pig pull toy found years ago turned out to be a rare and valuable collectible. The guest discovered a unique pig pull toy in an antique shop 25 years ago. It cost a hefty sum at the time, but its charm was irresistible. The appraiser identified it as a German pull toy made between 1895 and 1910.
Cast iron wheels and probably made in Germany.
Okay.
Probably made around 1895 to 1910.
Most pull toys from this era featured horses, lambs, or goats, but pigs were rare. This particular toy, larger than most, stood out even more. Its papier-mâché snout, glass eyes, and cast iron wheels added to its appeal. The toy also had an animated feature. The mouth moved as it rolled. The appraiser admired its whimsical design and charming motion. Such a rare and well-preserved piece, the appraiser noted, is highly collectible. At auction, the price was estimated by the appraiser.
My hunch is at auction, this could easily bring $2,000 to $2,500.
Perfect.
So, I mean, I think he's just a winner. Thanks for bringing him in.
Thank you. No.
The guest was thrilled to learn their beloved pig became quite a valuable treasure. Here are two vintage timepieces, a cottage clock and a novelty alarm clock. An Antiques Roadshow Golden Ticket winner, she got both from her father's Manhattan watch shop. The cottage clock, likely mid to late 19th century, mirrors styles by Seth Thomas in New Haven. These clocks featured peaked or flat-topped wooden cases with decorative glass panels. A unique way to set an alarm.
An alarm clock, which makes it fun, wind-up alarm clock, a 12-hour alarm, so you don't set it for 6 o'clock if it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because it'll give you 6 o'clock in the afternoon rather than 6 in the morning.
The dials had Roman numerals. Cottage clocks were affordable for the middle class. The cottage clock represents 19th century horology. The novelty alarm clock reflects early 20th century mass production. These clocks serve to wake people in the morning and as decorative objects in the home. Acknowledging its historical significance, it was valued by the appraiser.
Excellent, and it was about $450.
A piece of art from Frank Zappa always sparks intrigue. They got it from Frank Zappa and his family. They were moving, they planned to get rid of it, and the individual asked if they could have it. It was described as a beautiful piece of strange art. The person mentioned having gone on a few dates with Frank, allowing them to know him a little bit. Frank Zappa is a cultural icon, known as both a musician and an artist. The piece they brought was described as fabulous. It was painted during Frank's junior year in college, representing an early glimpse of his future. The artwork depicted an orchestra and what appeared to be an opera on stage. His signature was estimated to be very valuable. The estimated value of it was placed at $15,000 to $25,000.
I would say it's somewhere in the $15,000 to $25,000 range.
Wow.
In the world of antiques, few pieces hold surprises like the swan sled that captivated both guest and appraiser. The appraiser noted that the story about the swan sled revolved around the odds of its significance. They presented the sled as a cornerstone of their collection, which was the mate to one brought into Milwaukee. The guests shared that they acquired it at a rummage sale about 7 years ago for around $35. The appraiser explained that the sled was a child's sled. They mentioned that 30 years ago, it would have been considered unique. The appraiser recalled the surreal experience of realizing the sled's significance. They described how appraisers quickly absorb many details about objects, a process known as blinking. Having lived with the sled for so long, the appraiser recognized features like carved feathers and a metal brace along the wing. They noted that these details were identical to those of the other sled. Everything fell into place after that. Although the maker of the sled was unknown, it was clear it came from the same creator. The appraiser recounted purchasing this sled in the mid-'80s when they were single and known for paying strong prices. A dealer from Texas sold it to someone the appraiser knew, who had paid about $5,000 for it.
And I find that to be the case sometimes, that the guests, they do like to have it in their possession when the episode actually airs and have people over, family over, watching this episode, and then there seems to be a release.
When the dealer returned to Connecticut, they priced the sled at $40,000, which the appraiser agreed to pay without regret.
I sold it to a private collector and can't disclose the exact price, but it's good to say that it was north of $50,000.
The appraiser valued the sled at around $20,000 to $30,000.
I would value it at somewhere around $20,000 to $30,000.
Oh my gosh.
The guests expressed shock and gratitude, admitting they had no idea of its worth. In the summer of 1970, the spontaneous drive uncovered a hidden gem of craftsmanship. In 1970, the guest father watched a football game with his brother. The guest mother took a drive into the country with a relative. They visited New Hope, Pennsylvania, to meet woodworker George Nakashima. The family viewed Nakashima's furniture in his workshop. They later decided to commission a bench from him. Nakashima sent them a drawing of the bench design. The appraiser noted that the significance of having a Nakashima drawing. He asked the guest if he had met Nakashima, which the guest confirmed.
He lays it out for you. He's even chosen the piece of wood, and in his studio he had planks and planks of wood that...
I do remember that.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
The guest recalled the excitement of meeting Nakashima at age 12. The appraiser shared a story about his brother's encounter with Nakashima. Nakashima humorously asked local teenagers to call him about fallen trees.
So this is this 18th century Windsor bench brought into a 20th century sensibility. A lot of his furniture was done in walnut. There was a lot of walnut in the Pennsylvania area.
The appraiser pointed out details in the drawing, including, "Please confirm it's satisfactory."
Well, your parents paid $375
Yes.
for this. The market is exploded in Nakashima furniture.
The appraiser identified the bench's woods as cherry and hickory. The guest expressed astonishment at the estimated value of $45,000 and shared their use of the bench.
At auction are selling for $40,000.
Oh my God.
Now, because you have the drawing, you get to add a few thousand more on top of that. So say we're at the $45,000 mark.
We are at the auction block today, witnessing the return of a remarkable piece of tribal art. What makes this session so special is that many of these cultural treasures are finding their way back to their countries of origin, reconnecting with their roots.
Lot number 145 showing now. This is the tribal art, the African spear, axe or hatchet. There we go, very fine group lot this.
These pieces of ethnic art, once taken, whether by force or through trade, are now given a chance to return to the very communities where they were once created. This not only holds great historical significance, but also provides an opportunity for these artifacts to be fully appreciated and preserved by their rightful custodians. Under the hammer today is a collection of Aboriginal African shields, spears, and a finely crafted axe or hatchet. Each item bears distinct markings of a culture that valued both artistry and craftsmanship. The appraiser speaks passionately about the significance of these pieces, noting the spiritual and symbolic meanings behind the intricate carvings and designs. The bidding starts modestly, with an estimate of $200 to $400, but the energy in the room quickly escalates.
I think we ought to get straight into this. £500, anyone? 500, 500 bid at 500, 550 to a C, 550 from Australia.
The collectors, historians, and representatives from various cultural institutions raise their paddles, eager to own a piece of history.
13,000 now, 13 may I say. 13, it's not unlucky. 20,000 bid, 22,000 may I say. 22,000 now, 22,000.
As the price climbs, the atmosphere becomes electric, and the final hammer falls at an astounding
sold £30,000.
£30,000. Lewis, high five.
Weddings are often marked by the exchange of cherished gifts, and today's guest brings in a beautiful tea set passed down through her family. Originally given by her grandfather to her grandmother as a wedding present in the 1920s, this set carries deep sentimental value.
Well, my grandfather has given to my mother as a wedding gift.
As a wedding gift?
Yes.
When was that?
1956.
Right.
Handed down from family.
Its Art Deco design, with distinct geometric lines on the handles, showcases the elegance of that era. While it bears the hallmarks of classic English tea sets, the intricate decorated panels give away its Indian origins.
Particularly if you look at the handle.
Yes.
This very Art Deco squared form of the handle, which I love.
The appraiser highlights the unique spout of the tea server, unmistakably Indian in style, adding to the set's cultural richness. Made entirely of silver, the set features an inscription on the base indicating it was crafted in cashmere.
Other than, of course, the bottom, where it says, made in Kashmir. Well, we know cashmere for other things, don't we?
Yes.
Rather than silver.
Yeah.
The guest adds that the panels feature traditional Kashmiri patterns, often seen on clothing. With such deep historical and emotional significance, the tea set is priceless to the guest. Despite the unquantifiable value of the silver, the appraiser suggests that the set would still fetch a high price at auction. This remarkable family heirloom holds both cultural and financial value, estimated at
£600. With me on the book at £600. Are you all done?
Our worries are over. The hammer's gone down. £600.
Well done.
Thank you.
Dear.
Thank you. I'm really pleased.
Thank you. And all the money to Mother Teresa.
Yes.
That's
He trades this item from an old bottle that his friend is interested in. This Jacob Koons pistol cane, circa 1830, cleverly combines a walking cane and a firearm. Jacob Koons, a famed Philadelphia gunsmith, was known for his craftsmanship and innovation.
His name is right under the hammer, J. Kuntz, and it's a later spelling of his name. He originally spelled it K-U-N-T-Z. Jacob Kuntz made air guns, which are very rare, and Meriwether Lewis took one of Jacob Kuntz's air guns on the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Is that right?
He meticulously handcrafted each component, ensuring perfect fit and high performance. Kunz mentored gunsmiths, passing on his expertise and influencing the next generation of craftsmen. The pistol cane was a discreet self-defense weapon for gentlemen when firearms were frowned upon. This pistol cane has a concealed mechanism in the handle and a barrel alongside the shaft. It is meticulously crafted, featuring an elegantly shaped handle and a slender, sturdy shaft. A rare piece from a Philadelphia man's collection is now at the Virginia Military Institute. This piece exemplifies utility and artistry, making it significant in firearms and social history. A fusion of elegance and defense, the appraiser valued the item.
Because I think this really is worth $10,000 to $15,000.
$10,000 to $15,000.
$10,000 to $15,000.
I'm sure my friend will be contacting me.
This object on display was likely crafted by a family known as the Mio Chan from the Mio Chan region.
This object was probably made by a family called the Miochin. And the Miochin were armorers that used to make armor.
The Mio Chan were artisans celebrated for the exquisite amma pieces. However, in the mid-19th century, The collapse of the feudal system in Japan rendered these artisans unnecessary for traditional roles. Consequently, they began creating tourist souvenirs, such as the crayfish brought by the guest. Originally belonging to the guest father, an avid collector of arms and armor, this iron crayfish is fully articulated, entirely movable, and remarkably lifelike. It serves as an exact duplicate of the original creature, complete with all its movable parts, designed to be as realistic as possible. The color applied to it is an artificial enhancement, giving it a more natural appearance. If flipped over, the underside reveals the meticulously recreated articulated parts found in a live lobster, all crafted in iron. This piece stands out as a truly spectacular work of art, showcasing exceptional craftsmanship and remarkable attention to detail. Given its exquisite quality and connection to the Mio-chan family, it would likely be valued at a conservative auction price of...
Conservative price on this one would be $15,000.
Great. This guest presented a vintage Swiss chronograph watch. She claimed a fascinating history tied to Pancho Villa. This incredible watch, crafted with 18-karat gold and diamonds, featured intricate details, such as a chronograph function, moon phase, day-of-month indicator, and a unique blind man's function.
Lever here is to make it chime, which is sometimes called blind man's function. People who couldn't see could tell the time by pushing this lever and counting the chimes.
Oh, how interesting.
It also was revealed that the guest father had acquired this watch from Dr. Middlebrook, who in turn had obtained it from a man in Alpine, Texas. Additionally, the watch's condition, craftsmanship, and historical significance enhance its value. At auction, its estimated value would be between
somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000.
Would it be worth more if I could prove the story?
Definitely, definitely.
Instruments used by doctors in the 19th century look so intimidating and frightening. This woman held on to the items used by her husband's great-grandfather, who was a physician. She even stores a jar of teeth in her kitchen, the items valued at $1,000.
I always said I want to hold my legs together when I see that. And it was more than I could have dreamed of. It was a fabulous late 19th century Remington portrait.
When an appraiser talks about an item with so much passion, you can tell it's a gem. Great-grandson of the subject in a painting that was done by Frederick Remington hardly knew the value when he was rough handling it.
You're the first for me. I've never reprimanded a guest for manhandling a painting before.
Frederick Remington is a well-known American painter who specializes in Western America art. Frederick had made the painting as part of a military series in El Paso. The painting was valued at $600,000 to $800,000.
I was hoping I would be wildly exuberant. I am.
An 18th century American cream jug, a remarkable piece of silverware, was recently brought to light.
It is my great-grandmother's. It was her sister's.
Great-grandmother's sisters.
This jug is notable for its exceptional decoration, featuring intricate scenes of ducks and houses that cover its entire surface. Such detailed decoration is incredibly rare for American silverware of this period. Crafted by Jake and Hurd, a renowned 18th century silversmith, the jug originates from Boston. Unlike most plain American cream jugs of its era, this piece features elaborate punched and engraved scenic decoration. A Boston decorator likely crafted these rare scenes based on engraved prints like more common English examples. If this jug were English, its typical scenic decoration would value it at around $500, even though it dates to about 1745. However, because of its rare American origin and exceptional craftsmanship, the jug's value is estimated between...
The value is going to be $30,000 to $50,000.
Oh my God!
Yes, it's very rare.
This piece was purchased at a local auction some years back for $557 by the guest and his father. It is a fantastic piece of Ed Moulthrop turned wood, and it is the largest turned wood ever seen on the Roadshow. Ed Moulthrop had a successful career. Although he started as an architect, in the 1970s he began to make turned wood. He has several family members that do this as well. However, he pioneered the art. This classic Ed Moulthrop turned wood was made using a massive lathe. Also, all his tools had very long handles, so he could work on the bottom of the piece. All the shine on the piece is a glycol that was put on this wood to help preserve it. However, there are several humidity cracks on this wood, and at the bottom is the signature of the maker. Edward Moulthrop loved to use gum wood that had been struck by lightning or wood that had been damaged but had repaired itself, which is where all the beautiful lines came from. Furthermore, this piece was built around the 1980s or 1990s and would be in the range of $30,000 to $40,000, but with the crack on it, an auction estimate would be...
With the cracks, it becomes a little bit more dicey. We're not quite as sure as what it brings. My guess with the cracks, we could safely say at auction it'd probably bring $15,000 to $20,000. I about swooned, you know. I thought they'd like come over and give me oxygen or something, you know.